welcome back. Hi. I'm just trying to put my gloves on. I have to take them off to get the video working on my phone. So back again, dirty gloves, scraped canvas. My mix was too thin, so I'm going again with a thicker mix. I am doing today something a little bit different, mainly because there's a lot of people that overseas, I'm in Australia, so overseas, that can't get hold of Floetrol. So I'm going to do a pour with just glue and water. It's just a white glue. You can use Elmer's glue oil, you can use a craft glue, a wood glue, whatever sort of glue you can get hold of. I don't think it really matters. And I'm using treadmill silicone for cells today. So in my pouring medium, I've got 60% glue to 40% water. And then in my cups, I've got 50-50 pouring medium to paint. So it's quite thick. Let's see if I can show you on this one. See where the paint hits the paint in the cup? It leaves a little mound, and the mound actually leaves a little mound. If you ever went to the beach when you were little and you picked up wet sand and you did that and you drizzled it and it made that little castle, it's kind of like that. You get a little mound on top of a mound on top of a mound. That's the right thickness. It's quite thick instead of just hitting and then going in. So 50 grams of pouring medium, 50 grams of paint, that's 100 grams. I'm going to put, because I want lots of cells, I'm going to put 5 drops in each colour except the black and white. Got lots of lovely bright colours today. So there's always a chance that I'm going to get mud because of all these colours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why I've thickened them. The thicker your paint, the less chance of it blending, and the thinner your paint, the more chance is it's just going to, blend into the other paints and make a bit of a muddy look. So keep your paints a little bit thicker, and that will help them to stay separate and not a blend. It's like if you've got water and you pour cordial into it, the cordial just takes over the whole cup of water and changes colour. You can't see any definition of it. So it's really, really thin. So make it a bit thicker and hopefully that'll work for you. So I'm just going to do 3 cups here. And just 2 layers of each. These 2 will probably make mud. But then if I do that, I'm going to get purple. And then purple and yellow, well, that's not going to be good either, is it? So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. There's going to be colours in here that aren't going to work terribly well with each other. But hopefully I can get it to work with my paints being a little bit thicker than normal. So cross fingers, wish me luck. I was able to do it relatively well, I think, last night on my small card, my 30 by 40 centimetre card. I think that worked relatively well. I did get a little bit of mud. See how it's quite thick? It's staying where it falls. It's not falling through. It's not spreading to the edge. It's just sort of staying where I want it to stay. These are all global paints today. So with the green, I'm going to get green with the yellow in this turquoise, but that's okay. As long as they're all nice, bright, primary sort of colours, nice and bright, should work. I'm a bit worried about the purple and the yellow, but what can you do? I probably won't use all this purple because it really does take over. It's just one of those colours that take over. Got a nice layer of white there before we go again with the next round of paint. And that's the white gone. 1 down, 7 to go. So I've got 8 cups here, each with 100 grams of paint. So that's 800 grams, which is usually what I would need for this size canvas. It's a 30 by 60 centimetre or 12 by 24 inch. I think it's 26 ounces of paint. So it's a lot of paint. And you do need a lot of paint for this sort of style to work. If you don't have enough paint, you're going to over tilt your canvas to cover the whole surface, and that's when you start stretching your cells out of shape. So if you want the nice plump juicy round cells, you have to have lots of paint so that you can move it around the surface really easily without it overstretching. So that's the plan. So I'm going to pour this out and I'm going to torch straight away to bring up the cells. Because my mix is so thick, I'm not going to get a lot of cells straight away on their own. They will need some heat to encourage them to the surface. And once those little cells come to the surface, that's when I can tilt the canvas to stretch them. That's the plan anyway. Oh yes, I'll go this one. This is a warm red. Tell you about the colours in a minute. I just really hope this works and doesn't go to mud. Even though I haven't got any Floetrol or pouring medium in the mix, you know, that's saved me a little bit of money, but I'm using extra paint. Normally I'd use 3 parts pouring medium to 1 part paint, but now I've got 1 to 1, so I'm using more paint, which, you know, is expensive. But because I'm using more paint, I also get a much brighter, richer look to the finished product because, you know, there's more pigments in the pour. So we do get a much brighter finish, which is lovely. And glue dries quite glossy, so that's a good thing too. Gives a nice finish. Floetrol on its own dries pretty dull. But having a little bit of glue in there just gives it that little bit of a sheen to it, which I think is very nice. And it's a nice feel as well. It's almost like a plasticky feel when you touch the surface. It's just a bit different to having a plain matte finish. Right, a little bit of purple on top of this yellow. And we'll be ready to flip. So I've got a little bit of purple still left in there. And I'll hang on to that. Now, I'm going to flip a little bit differently. With this mix, I don't want to drag the cups down because I don't want them to muddy. I basically just want to flip them over and let the paint flow out. Because when you do drag your cups down, the paint mixes as you drag and it can go a little bit muddy. That's my theory anyway, and I'm sticking to it. No, I have found that that's the case. I'm just going to mark this here so that I know where to put my canvas back down again after I've lifted it up to tilt it. That way I know that it's back in frame. Okay, so you can see the paint has started to come away from the base here. I have sprayed my cups with silicone oil and then just wiped the excess out with the paper towel. Look at that purple. And yes, it's because the purple was on the top, it's now on the bottom, so it's really standing out. Probably looks worse than it is, but there's lovely little cells in it. Okay, now let's do this. Wish me luck. Cross your fingers for me. So as I said, I just want to basically tip it over and let the paint fall out. think that's it. Did I get most of it? Probably didn't do the first one so well. Let's just put that there on the edge. But see how I didn't drag it too much? Well, that was the plan anyway. Let's just pop this bit here. Again, won't drag it, just let it sit there. It's pretty much all the paint gone. Kind of looks a bit galactic, doesn't it? Stars in the galaxy. Right, torch. So, getting little cells up. I don't want to torch too close. I'm going to start up quite high and just slowly let the heat come down. I'm going to go in circles so that I hopefully avoid getting too many caterpillars. Go around again, nice and high. Just slowly letting that heat go down through the thick paint, bring the cells up with it. Okay, so as you can see, lots and lots of little cells popping up, which is what I wanted, because these are the types of little tiny round well-shaped formed cells that I can stretch. I'm just going to move these empty cups away while we continue to wait for a minute just for those remaining cells to pop up and say hi. Pretty colours. So even though it looks quite dark and murky at the moment, I'm hoping that once I start tilting, more cells pop up. Can you see the really tiny little dots? Those are cells as well, and they will also start stretching once I start tilting. So far, happy with the result. Just have to see if I can stretch this without ruining it. That's always the hardest thing, is the stretching. It's the most difficult thing. It's the most important thing. So let's hope that I can do this, otherwise I've wasted a lot of paint and a lot of medium. All right, now I'm going to go to the side first to try and cover this. I'm just going to take my time. I don't want to rush this. I will need my little corner catcher thing. I'll just use a couple of stir sticks just to help catch the paint, because this is really beautiful here. I don't want to lose too much of that. So I'll just put that there and that'll help me catch that paint. So just touch the edge there and back. See how those cells are stretching now? I'm going to go over the bottom there. And I'm really going to take my time with this because I want a really pretty pour. Just over the edge there. Now, where next? I think down here next. Now, I realise that corner is not the most attractive corner, but I'm not going to do anything about it just yet. I want to wait until I've got everything covered, because that was that extra little bit that I poured on. It's not ugly, it's just not, you know, beautiful. Because it was the extra paint poured on, and it's always a little bit more blended. Look at those, see how those are stretching? So beautiful. I'm just going to help this paint over here a little bit. Just wet that canvas, help the paint over. just gone over, and that's enough. I can touch up the sides later. It's more important that I get the majority of the canvas done. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Okay, phew, half, 3/4 done. Now I'm going to turn it again. I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm going to turn this. Make sure you take your hand around, don't drag it over the top, because you could have paint on you and then you've dripped into the middle. Wow, you guys, look at that. I don't want to tilt it the other way. I don't want to ruin it. Oh dear. Anyway, has to be done. Has to be done. Let's go this side first. I'll try not to stretch too much of that out. Got a lot of paint on here, 800 grams. It's nice and thick. It's able to stretch a little bit. The thicker the paint, the more easily you can stretch it without it losing its shape. I'm going to just put a little blob of paint there. Just so that I can wet that canvas to help the paint flow over. And I've got a little bit left in this one. I'll do the same here. It's always your corners that are going to give you the most trouble. Yeah, don't really like that. Let's try this cup. It's got a bit of pink in it. Okay, that's prettier. So again, just going to ease that paint over the edge, help it move. So your side cells up here are always going to be more stretched. There's nothing you can do about that, apart from just making sure that you've got enough paint, really. If you're going to go to the trouble of making a pour, have lots of paint. Make what you think you're going to need and then make some more. I'm just going to torch that corner because it's got no cells in it yet. And this corner too. Okay. Hopefully we'll get some, see those from those? Those are really pretty here. So we want some cells in the corners, don't we? And if I don't get to that corner, if I can't pour that corner off, that's okay. Because it's got some cells on it. Okay, and back. Oh wow, my goodness. I don't often say that, but oh wow. Okay, nearly there, nearly there. That looks quite pretty, the pink with those little cells in it. I can live with that. Now, we just have to do that bottom bit. Now, do I want to help it along just a touch? Not really, because I'm breaking cells. The paint sort of rolls over the top of the cells, so you're going to lose them anyway. All right, let's go. Nice and slow, back and forth and towards you at the same time. Get that momentum of the paint, get the weight of the paint pushing the rest of the paint over. Now, nearly there, you guys, just this tiny little bit here, look at that. I'm so close. All right, last little bit, just that. I just need that tiny little bit to go over. I just want to try and get it to move that way a touch. Okay, it's over. That's it. No more. That is it. I'm leaving it. I'm backing away, walking away. Now, if I had to torch this again, I would get these tiny little white dots would appear, and I don't want to do that. In the past, I've done that before, and I've told myself, don't do it. So I'm not going to, because it just makes these tiny little white dots. So I'm just going to leave it. What do you guys think? I love it, I love it, I love it. That hasn't quite gone over, that's okay. Now, I've got a tiny little bit of purple left in my cup, as you know. I'm just going to, it would have been nice if it was black, but it's okay, purple will do. Just put a little bit of purple or whatever colour that you've got left. It's always a good idea to save just a tiny bit. Nice bright colour, you don't want mud. Just for your corners. And fix up any of your sides. The sides aren't that important. So you could pick up some leftover paint and put it on the sides. But the bits that you can see on the front, I'd rather just cover them up with a bit of purple. So this is all good here. There's a tiny bit here that's missing some paint. So again, tiny bit of purple just there. And it's going to run down anyway and blend with the other paint, so it's still going to look pretty. Oh my gosh, I just love, love, love this. I've been pouring for nearly 2 years, and I have never, ever, ever been able to achieve this until today. I'm so excited, you guys. So excited. Oh my gosh. All right, let's keep going. Now, I just have to finish filling in these little bits. Normally, I would pick up paint from the bottom, from here, and put it on the sides. If it's not too murky looking, I will, but there's really not a lot of runoff. So I'm going to pick areas that aren't too muddy and just put them on the side and let them run off. So there's a lovely little bit of pink in there. So I'm going to pop that there and let that run off. Clean my spatula again because it's now a bit muddy. Pick up some of this green and put it there. And again, it's gone muddy, so wipe it off. If your paint runoff looks relatively nice and bright still and you think you can get away with it, use it for sure. But if it's looking really grey and murky, it's probably best not to. Oh my goodness, can't stop looking at it. I love this. That black with the pink, it's just gorgeous. Now, I need to turn this. Don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. And don't knock it on your shirt. Okay, now I'll get the rest of the sides quickly, and then I will take you in for a close-up. The other thing that you can also do is with your runoff, you can just add a little bit of extra colour to it, like that, and then pick it up. So it's got some nice bright colours in it, but it's not just one plain colour. So you can also do that, and that just helps blend it all. I can finish this later, you don't have to watch me do this, no doubt. I'm going to put a little bit of purple in that there, and I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to put that there. And because it's got the purple in it, it's nice and bright, not too muddy. What else do I need to do? There's just that little bit there on the side. Just put a little bit of purple there. Actually, this one's better. It's not as muddy. These colours, as I said earlier, they mix and make mud so easily. So the paint that's on the table, on my puppy pedal pads, it muddies very, very quickly once those colours are blended. Now I'm just going to wipe the sides down, or the bottom I should say. And I'm going to take the phone off the tripod. Actually, I've still got some sides to do there. I won't bother you with it now. Take my dirty gloves off and I'll take you in for a close-up. I'm just going to take the phone down off the tripod. Walk down my stairs. Okay, let's have a look. I'm going to zoom out a bit so that you can see the whole thing. Actually, I'll just pull this forward a bit. There we go. So you're not seeing mud. What do you think? Oh my gosh, it is so, so beautiful. Sorry if that sounds conceited. It's so pretty. Look at that. Multicolored cells. And they've stayed in their shape pretty much. Some of these top ones have stretched a little bit, but that can't be helped. Haven't really got much mud. I was worried about the purple and the yellow being on top of each other, but it hasn't gone too badly, has it? Not too many caterpillars. Okay. All right, I better stop ranting and raving and go and finish that side that I need to do. So, really happy with this one. Have a go. As I said, if you can't get Floetrol, you can create some lovely effects with just glue and water. So have a go. Join me on the Australian Acrylic Pouring Group. Show me what you've done with glue and water. I'd love to see it. And I will catch you for the next pour. Bye for now.